No dogs were cooked this week, unless you count Donald Trump.
Boom!
The breakdown. The breakdown starts now. What's up, Rick Wilson? How you doing?
You know, Maya, it's been a week, and it's been a week that I guess when you get right down to it, Donald Trump being prepared for the debate by Laura Loomer and Tulsi Gabbard was not the smartest idea.
Not a smart idea.
Top 50 smartest ideas. I mean, he should have been. He could have said, like, I'm going to get a pair of rabid raccoons to prepare me for the debate, and he probably would have done better.
Absolutely. And I think Kamala Harris prepared the way she does her meal preps. Like, she was like, we're going to have the sous chef involved. We're going to take care of this. And that's why she cooked his ass. Trump was on the menu, and maybe he didn't realize it. And this is the thing, like, with him being so unprepared for a debate, it just shows his lack of respect. Absolutely. Lack of respect for his opponent, lack of respect. And even actually Tulsi Gabbard actually said to him, like, hey, you know, she's a worthy opponent on the debate stage, so you should be prepared. But Trump doesn't listen to anyone. So
something about women telling him about women doesn't register in the Trump brain.
Absolutely not at all. And
total disconnect.
And complete disconnect. And you know, I want to roll the clip of because right from the get-go, it started off bad for him and strong for Kamala.
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
Nice to see you. Have fun.
Thank you.
It's so good. She went into his space, like, in a way, like, I'm not going to use that word of like but it's like she went in there. She penetrated his space. And that already.
And you can watch, if you watch the whole clip, you see Trump sees her coming toward him. He tries to duck behind the podium, and she's like a fighter pilot, like coming around the arc, going to intercept him no matter what. And I have to say what that moment was, really. That is a moment I call Hillary's revenge, because Hillary Clinton had Donald Trump in her debates for president lurking behind her, standing there, hovering over her. And he used, and you're a performer, you know this better than anybody. He used his physicality, he used his size to intimidate and to show a scene to the audience that he wanted them to see. I'm the big strapping man. Yep. But she walked across that stage like she owned his ass and did. Like, just strolled out there with a 1,000,000-watt smile on her face, and stuck her hand out, took command of the stage. And at that moment, she also took command of Donald Trump's brain, because, he's not the smartest guy in the world, but that little hamster wheel in his brain was going right up until he started talking. And it didn't go well.
Yeah, he knew he was dominated from the get-go. And I also love that she introduced her with the full name, Kamala Harris, as like,
I know, right? Was it Harris, Kamala Harris?
Absolutely lethal. And it continued, truly, like, from that moment, like, when so they started off with questions that were, I don't want to say softball questions for each of them. But they were easy questions.
They weren't rough and tumble. They weren't trying to get into their, soft spots right away.
No. And I think the way Kamala Harris handled it, because we were all waiting. I think everybody going into this was like, how is she going to bait him, and is he going to take the bait? Right? For me going into it, I was like, Trump has a way, he has his ability to kind of stay on message for about 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds, maybe 5. So we were all kind of taking the bet over under on how long it was going to take before she would break him. It actually kind of like the Rocky IV scene, where they're coming across. Only it was like, this is what I was ready for. And so I think at first, what's the abortion clip? When they started talking about abortion, like, he just flopped on that answer.
Yeah, I
And
mean, think about that. He had to know that was going to be a central question. His campaign has been working around that question for months. They know how bad it is for him. They know that 3 or 4 years of bragging that he stacked the court to overturn Roe polls about like, leprosy right now. They know how bad it is. They know the national ban turns 55% of Republican women into Kamala Harris voters. They know how bad it is. And yet he still couldn't get away. He was still trying to brag about ending Roe and stacking the court. And then he was trying to like sort of thread the needle, like, I don't know about a national ban. The states wanted it. Everybody wanted it. And she gave a textbook perfect answer because she didn't get into the details of the laws. Everyone knows how horrible they are. She talked about the consequences to American women now and in the future of these laws that were built in these red states, especially by Donald Trump's acolytes. They also understood, and I think she got it very clearly, that Trump is lying about a national ban. Of course he'll sign a national ban. Of course he will. It's absurd.
yeah, and actually one of the most searched terms after the debate in most states was abortion, because this is the first time really truly the two of them are on a national stage together. Right. And so his followers are watching, her followers are watching. And so everybody's going, wait a second, who's telling us the truth here? And so they went straight to Google and looked it up. And that's when they started to realize, perhaps this man is lying to us and abortion is very much on the ballot.
Maybe the most famous liar in American political history is continuing to lie. You have to watch this guy like a hawk. You have to watch him because it is easy to believe sometimes, he's just like shit talking. He's a very accomplished liar. He's a very trained liar. He knows what he's doing. You have to keep an eye on the guy all the time. You have to watch him like a hawk. You have to watch, like, he'll lie in different circumstances. When he's in Mar-a-Lago and the New York Times reporters are hanging around, he presents to them a much more moderate version of Trump. When he's at an evangelical conference, it's fire and brimstone. He's got a million faces no matter which way you approach, from which direction you approach him. And at the rallies, he's a whole different character as well.
No, 100%. And actually, we have a clip of his attempt to answer the abortion question, which...
Well, let's play it. Oh, yeah. Bad.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't.
What kind of answer is that? Variety.
I mean, look, anyone who's surprised that Trump is going to throw J.D. Vance under the bus, I mean, he hates the guy, but it was also like there's a degree to which Trump's disloyalty to everybody always comes through. Vance should have expected this. I mean, the guy is now political poison. JD, you're never going back to the Aspen Institute, my friend. It's not happening. No more TED Talks for you. But as Trump did that, it was one more thing where he's hurting the guy who's hurting him, and Trump knows Vance hurts him. Trump knows Vance is poison. So,
right, but it also looks bad to the undecided voter or the moderate voter to have a presidential candidate basically say, "I don't talk to my vice." Like, what kind of leadership style?
You picked him, Donald. Why did you choose him if you didn't talk? If you're not going to talk to him, why did you choose him if you're not going to use him as part of your campaign? So I think that was a moment where Trump's desire to skate away, as he always does, to skate away from responsibility, once again leaves a guy like J.D. Vance sitting there going, well, what am I, chopped liver? Yes, J.D. In fact, you are chopped liver. You are cat meat, J.D.
Well, and so many of Trump's errors were self-inflicted. Like, he would try to blame the fact that it was like, it's 3-1, and I'm like, okay, so you're telling me you're strong enough to handle Putin, but you can't handle a debate?
Right. You can't handle David Muir and Lindsay Davis from ABC, who who could not have been more polite, restrained, correct, who could not have been more decent as interviewers and more professional as interviewers. That was a very well-run debate. They weren't stacking the deck as all the MAGAs have bleated about the last couple of days. Because look, y'all, the reason Trump got fact-checked was he was saying ridiculous shit. Let's be clear about this. The reason Trump got fact-checked is he said things like, they're killing the babies after they're born, and people are eating dogs.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
And what was great too, well, I was gonna say what was great too is that so he has all these self-inflicted errors, and then Kamala Harris took advantage of every single one of them. Like she was sharp. He looked slow. She was just waiting for him to pounce, and he would try to bait her. Like we'll get into that later in the show because he would try to say things that you would think might throw her off kilter, and they never did. So so he brings up crime. Like that, I mean, if you're a criminal and you know you're a criminal and you're on a stage with a prosecutor and you bring up crime and you don't think that she's going to bring up your crimes in front of all of the American people in a way that
think again, my friends.
Yeah. So we actually have that clip. So let's roll it.
Well, I think this is so rich coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault.
What? Oh, fuck.
And his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing.
How does he have the time? Maybe that's why he didn't prepare for the debate because he was too busy preparing to appear in court.
I have to tell you, Donald Trump's legal problems are never going to be over. He's trying to avoid them, folks. You all know that's the reason he's running, is he wants to stay out of jail. But her doing that, you could see his eyes were like popping in his head like pachinko balls. They were going back and forth. He was so nervous. He hated it. And everybody watching the future when Trump is speaking, if he's nervous about something, he makes the duck face. I can't even make the duck face. He like squeezes his head down, hunches his head down, and you can see it. It's a tell. And he did it over. Go watch the YouTube of this debate. Yeah. He did it over and over. And I stopped counting at about the 25th time I noticed it because she had him nailed on issue after issue. And how did she do it? She had him nailed on poking him in the sorest, softest, most delicate spots of his ego. And right off the bat, near the beginning of the debate, and we were talking about this yesterday, she came out and said, Donald, America, I invite you to go to a Trump rally. Because people there leave because of boredom and exhaustion. And Trump at that moment, you knew the rest of the debate, even worse than the handshake, was going to go downhill from there. Nothing could get crazier after that. She said the worst thing she could have said about him. Other than I hear you have a small dick. That would have probably made him more upset. But she did the most tender part of his ego. And he immediately went completely nuts. But,
I think too, not just that she went after his most tender spot, but he invited the rest of America to do so. Like she was like, hey, everybody, come laugh at him.
Right.
He's already being laughed at by us, but I want all of you to tune in and laugh at him. Because a lot of times we've been like, just ignore Trump. He's going to do what he's going to do. He's going to say what he's going to say. And Kamala Harris is like, no, you need to see this. And that's how confident she is about what her campaign is doing, is because she knows all it's going to take is one look at what he's doing for people to go,
And his response to her saying, you have no rallies. No one comes to your rallies. You have to pay people to come to your rallies. Donald, I've been there now. Those are the real thing. Those are rallies much bigger than Donald Trump can put together. And folks, we are experts on Trump rallies. I have to admit it. We are experts on Trump rallies.
Well, they're so memeable. They're basically a meme, like so many memes come out of there. And so to talk about memes and all of this stuff, we actually are bringing back
Gen Z correspondent.
Hi. Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. I was so thrilled. It was one of my favorite moments of the entire debate when she came on and said, I invite you all to go and watch a Trump rally, because as someone who has watched probably about 1,000 hours of Trump speaking, I have, they happen at odd hours. I'll have friends over, whatever, and I'll say, you have to sit and watch this with me. And they're in awe because they've never sat through a whole thing. They've maybe seen a clip go viral or something like that. And to actually sit and watch him decompose like live on stage is really a sight to behold. And she did it with so much confidence, and it really rattled him, because I think the last thing he was expecting was for her to say, go watch him. The same way that I say to folks, especially my friends on the left, I dare you, go and watch 3 straight hours, the entire primetime lineup on Fox News, and you need to get into the headspace and understand the alternate universe that these people are living in, because they're not getting the same.
It's not America.
Yeah, it should be a field trip, like just how in 8th grade everybody goes to DC. I think everybody needs, like the magic school bus ride into Trump's head. That's what we all need. But honestly, it's when you look at it, when you see how absolutely prepared Kamala Harris was, and to see him unravel, like so the moment. And I think, Kate, this is probably for you, was very exciting when she was about to say something. She was about to call him the thing. She was about to say the thing. And everyone was like, oh, is she going to say the thing on live TV?
I thought we were going to get the very first presidential debate MFer. It was so close. I felt like it was just about to make history.
Yeah.
Let's watch this really quick.
And this.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
Scumbag, fuckface, dickhead, asshole,
half-witted moron,
no good, rotten, four-flushing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, dirt-eating piece of slime.
A sad, strange little man.
Insecure junkyard motherfucker!
Former president.
It's good every single time. So can you break down this this format, this meme format? Because not all of us are Gen Z, not all of us are hip to these cultural moments. How does this play into helping us connect as a culture, to understand, to contextualize?
I mean, that specifically, that was a moment in the debate that obviously went super viral. And you had people, you don't have to be, a rapid response professional to know exactly what fits in there. I've seen no less than half a dozen just scrolling today, videos on TikTok of people like watching it happen on TV. And she goes, this, and someone yells, motherfucker, like at their screen, be like, I said it for her. So that was a great moment for her. And we know what she thought she wanted to say, because there's a clip of her out there in an interview being asked, what's your favorite cuss word? And she goes, it starts with M and ends with
And that's the thing. That should be the moment that he realizes that Kamala Harris is black, because that is like quintessentially like this mother. There is like, it's kind of our favorite thing to say. It's our favorite swear word. So,
look, I'm the whitest man in America, and it's my favorite swear word.
Oh, maybe this is unifying. Is this motherfucker like a unifying word?
We were all coming around the table here together today. We've solved it. We ended it.
Yeah.
We ended it.
We just brought America together on tonight's breakdown.
Nothing but kumbaya for the rest of the year.
Absolutely. But there was even trending sounds, right?
Yes.
That went along.
He had the last thing that you want out of a debate. It used to more be the moments that got covered the most on the news. Now that everybody is a content creator, anything that you do has the potential to become a viral moment. And the biggest viral moments of this debate were positive for Kamala. They were her really wonderful answer on abortion in full. And there was, this former president moment. And for Trump, they were really bad. They are worse than him saying something that people don't agree with. They were moments where he looked stupid. There is My favorite one that's been trending on TikTok is I have concepts of a plan, which looks
But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan.
I don't know who said it, but the TikTok with the dolphins and the rainbows and concepts of a plan.
Yeah, we did do that. The Zara Larson song. But that one is going viral with just girls posting, when I text my friends, let's go out tonight, and someone says, well, what do you want to do?
You have a concept of a plan.
I'm not the president. I have concepts of a plan.
I mean, the lack of preparedness would be laughable, and it is laughable to some extent because it means that Kamala Harris is inching ever closer to the White House. But this guy is running for president. He used to be the president.
Is that Trump is a world-class bullshitter and a world-class liar. Why would he not just say, we've been looking at that, we've been looking into that, we have a plan, it'll be coming out soon. He forgot to lie for the first time in his life. He was
I think
he's also super nervous because 2 or 3 weeks ago now, maybe it was a week ago, who knows, dog years. We're in the dog years part of the year. He said, I'm going to be the champion of IVF and I'm going to make it free. We're going to mandate insurance companies make IVF free. I'm like, motherfucker, that's Obamacare. You're endorsing Obamacare.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything that he did over the evening, I think, again, it's because she owns that, right? She put him off kilter. This was him, because if he hadn't gotten the pushback, if he hadn't gotten laughed at, if he hadn't taken her bait. So I think, again, kudos to Kamala for being able to maintain her composure throughout and constantly push his buttons because we have a low light clip, but also the clip that he said something that a lot of people missed the first time around. I know I did. And so I don't know which one we want to roll first, but let's.
Well, I'm going to start with the most famous clip of the whole night that I don't think anybody missed, which has also gone viral, if I'm thinking what you're thinking.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's
amazing.
I've seen
they're
a
eating
dance
the
track
pets.
to that. That's they're eating the pets. They're eating the dogs.
That one has been everywhere. The main thing that people have been doing is they've been playing the sound and videotaping their dogs and cats reacting to it, and the dogs being like,
I gotta say though, the dogs and cats thing, this is, folks, if you're not submerged in online culture right now, thank God. You're better and saner than we are. But this has become this gigantic lie on the MAGA right that Haitian immigrants in Ohio and other places are stealing people's dogs and taking their pets and eating them. Now, it's racist on so many levels. It would take us a week to go through the historical antecedents to the racism of this particular bullshit. But it's mostly absurd. It's mostly one of the things that the far right is doing to make its own base dig in further and further into the crazy. And when he said it on stage, I was texting with a national reporter, a name you would absolutely know, who responded to me, oh, fuck. He believed Laura Loomer. Because Laura Loomer and Benny Johnson, he who works for the Russians for $400,000 a month, which, by the way, Russia, if you're listening, no, kidding. They've convinced millions of these MAGA idiots, and they are idiots who believe this. They are idiots who believe this. They've convinced them that there's this epidemic of Haitian people eating dogs. Now, what's happening in Ohio and in the Springfield and Aurora, where these two communities Trump mentioned? Well, tonight, Haitian families are getting death threats. Tonight in Ohio, Mike DeWine, the Republican, I'm going to give him credit. the Republican governor of Ohio came out and said, this is a lie. Stop this shit. You're putting people's lives in danger. And by the way, folks, these Haitian immigrants here are here legally. They are here with work visas. They are here under legal status. They're not illegal aliens, but these people can't stop themselves because they want you to think that it's some sort of like voodoo ritual and they're eating the dogs and cats. Y'all, if the MAGAs are listening, and there's one guy in the YouTube chat right now who's typing Trump 2024 like every 5 seconds, named Spectre. Spectre, erectile dysfunction is treatable. Get help. You'll be okay. You'll feel better when you stop acting like a maniac. But these people who believe this are obsessive about this, not because they're immigrants, but because they're Haitian. And I grew up in Florida. I have grown up around Haitians all my life. They are good, kind, loving, fucking hardworking, bust-ass people, okay? They're building a life in America, just like every other generation has. But the fact that these people want to attack them and turn them into this like mythical monsters that eat your pets, it tells you just how much of the racist genie Trump let out of the bottle. It is disgusting. Karine Jean-Pierre, who is of Haitian descent today, lit reporters the fuck up in the White House. And if you haven't seen that clip, go watch it because she ain't happy. And she's right to be so. It is outrageous. And as funny as it is that Trump bought into it, and as much as all of his supporters of Trump at the professional level who are not these idiots following Benny Johnson on TV and Laura Loomer are freaked out about it, it really will not stop because once they dig in, they never quit. So it is something I think it's funny, but there's an ugly, ugly seriousness underneath it that I'm livid about. And by the way, one more thing, I know I'm ranting about this a little bit. I would like to hear Senator Rick Scott come out, who is running for U.S. Senate in Florida against Debbie McCarcel-Powell, and condemn Donald Trump for the pernicious lie he's made about several 100,000 Florida voters in the Haitian community. I'd love to hear that, Rick, unless you're too much of a pussy-ass bitch to come out and speak the truth for once in your pathetic life. That's just me.
I appreciate that rant, Rick, because I feel like that was some of my inner dialogue. And so I think coming from you...
I have inner, outer, it's all the same to me.
No, but it's absolutely true. It puts people's lives in danger, and fear and division is all they have. And demonizing people in this way, that's textbook fascism. We've seen it before. And the fact that they're still playing with this playbook right now just shows how little they actually have to run on. They've got nothing.
And this is really also the dark side of what goes on online, because this is just some bullshit 4chan rumor. I think Jake Tapper said on CNN after the debate that Trump's performance was like a 4chan post come to life. I mean, this is what it is. When you have, Matt Gaetz and Laura Loomer doing your debate prep, you're bound to confusion. Yeah.
Well, and also we live in a digital world where everybody has a cell phone, everybody's videoing. So where is the video evidence of these things happening? Like nobody caught that on video. The person, we're in a place where people constantly just pull out their phone and start recording. So
it was truly a grotesque moment. We should not expect better from Trump. We should not expect better from his enablers. Although I will say a shocking number of Republican elected officials, media people, consultants, etc., when he did the dog thing, that broke a lot of them. Eric Erickson typed in all caps, like, you dumb motherfuckers. You convinced Trump that this bullshit was true. Now you've lost the debate and the election. I mean, they get it how broken this guy is. But it wasn't the worst low light of the night. I mean, there were some other moments where Trump was pretty nasty and unhinged.
Why don't we take a look?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Their crime rates are way down. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. She wanted to go to the sorority party, and I got involved with the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. All I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out. And I'll say that. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets. I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. She is Biden. The dog was eaten by the people that went there. And remember this, she is Biden.
So here's the thing. She could have taken the bait because he put out bait left and right.
Oh, yeah. He was trying to throw the bait, but the servant waits while the master baits, as they say in History of the World. Y'all are too young for that movie, but look it up.
Even I'm too young for that movie. I was like, I'm not sure.
Classic.
But what I would like to say is that she used that moment instead of trying to do any sort of rebuttal. She held that up to America and said, this is why 200 Republicans are endorsing me. Because
that's right.
And then went on to talk about the generals who call him unfit for office. Didn't name Nikki Haley, who also called him unfit for office and that America wouldn't survive 4 years of Donald Trump. Said that over and over again before she went begging to campaign for him. So I love, once again, I just want to keep giving kudos to Kamala because
she cooked it. No, look, she went in prepared. She went in ready. She went in confident that she was smarter and better on camera than he was. And that's what kills Trump more than anything is she was a better performer in every way, and he knew it. I do want to say one thing really quickly. You mentioned Nikki Haley before we came on the air, and then we'll get back on topic, I promise. A Newsweek story broke just before we came on the air saying that Republican major donors are now threatening to withhold money. They're trying to make a plan. There are a lot of phone calls blowing up the Republican ecosystem tonight to replace Trump on the ballot, to pull a Biden on Trump, to replace him on the ballot with a Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis ticket. To which I say, good luck.
Good fucking luck. I was gonna say.
How does it feel? How does it feel?
Do it on the radar screen.
Yeah. We haven't even gotten to the goody goods of the evening because we have our Gen Z correspondent here, and I feel like our Gen Z correspondent has to talk about the endorsement of all endorsements.
Yeah, we were all Taylor Swift, I'm sure everyone is well aware at this point, endorsed Kamala right after the debate. We were all together in Washington watching as a team, and most people were upstairs and some people were downstairs. And it was right after I had gone downstairs, I think, to talk to Ryan, our chief of staff, and I hear a yell from upstairs. It was like Paul Revere, like the British were coming. It was like, Taylor endorsed! And I ran up.
Swifties are coming. The Swifties
are coming. Here's her endorsement. I think this is a big deal. I don't think that's a brave thing to say. Although the right is having a total meltdown about it.
Oh, it's so pretty.
It's delicious.
All of a sudden, all this talk of oh, well, if you need Taylor Swift to tell you who to vote for, you shouldn't have the right to vote. And this is not about that. I don't know that there are a lot of Taylor Swift fans out there that were waiting for her instruction to decide who to vote for and whether or not they want to vote. But this is a woman who has one of the biggest fan bases on earth. And in the vote.gov link that she posted with this, I think in the first 24 hours, it had over 300,000 click-throughs, and that's not nothing. I mean,
that's a real move.
These are young people who, maybe don't like Trump or don't really care either way, but hadn't perhaps thought about voting or gotten engaged yet, because we always forget, because we, eat, sleep, and breathe this all the time, that people are just starting to pay attention for the first time, this week. And
that's important. Also, Taylor Swift, I've listened to her music. I have a teenager. And so the lyrics are literally talking about toxic men. And I think it's the perfect endorsement. I think anyone who loves Taylor Swift is going to go, oh, wait a second. There's a toxic man that I also want to make sure that doesn't capture the attention of the American public anymore. And so I think I'm excited about it. And yeah, they're so upset that they're looking through who's liking the posts.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but speaking of toxic men, I mean, the backlash on the right from some of these Some women too. We'll get to Megyn Kelly, but these men has been disgusting. I mean, Elon Musk, this is sexual harassment. This is one of the guys with the biggest followings and the most money in the whole world, openly sexually harassing this woman for exercising political speech, which he thinks everyone should be able to do all the time. So
I think Taylor should have just tweeted back, okay, fight Travis first.
right.
Because look, Elon Musk has something like 11 children with 5 different women, or 4 different. I don't know what the number is. He's impossibly fertile. But the idea that is very near and dear to all these weird manosphere types like JD Vance is that they contextualize every woman by her womb, solely, exclusively by her reproductive status. And the thing I find just so like Elon about it is he may be the richest guy in the world, but he couldn't pull that. He just couldn't. He fundamentally lacks that game. He's just not that guy. And it's just so creepy.
But this is what the people who are trapped in the Andrew Tate, Elon Musk, toxic world.
Joe Rogan.
I mean, this is why you're seeing such a huge delta among Gen Z between Gen Z women and men, because the young men are being exposed to these kinds of influencers,
sure,
like Andrew Tate, who, you know, they're looking for whatever reason for a male figure to give them advice and guide them and tell them how to talk to women. And they're getting it from all the wrong places, because these are the guys that for some reason, whenever a woman does something they don't like, why is it that the first thought, like, why does it always go to rape? It really doesn't sit well with me. You have David Rubin saying this about the Taylor Swift endorsement.
Right. It's like, Taylor Swift, you are a young, pretty girl. Do you know what the gang members from Venezuela do to young, pretty girls? It ain't pretty.
It's fucking disgusting.
Look, it's vile. It's vile. And you know, when I started standing up to Trump way back in 15 and 16, the number one thing they used to get at me through my daughter was threatening to rape her. And they put notes on her door in college and all this other crap and posted constantly about it. And you know, it's part of their fantasy structure in their heads. That's what's really disturbing and sick about it, is this is how they look at the way women should be controlled. And the way women should be controlled is either by fear of rape or rape, e.g. Andrew Tate, as you can see his police arrests over and over again now, and is saying that sexual violence is an inherent part of their business model, which it does not speak well of them. And it is not manly or masculine, guys. I'm sorry. You may think that's how you express your masculinity, but it makes you a fucking criminal and a scumbag.
Yeah, and for the parents out there, the parents who are voters, hearing men like this talk about women and girls like this, that should wake something up in you, right? Like that should go, is this the guy? Do I want Trump? Do I want the people that he brings
this
with
kind of guy and that kind of guy, Donald Trump? Because look, no parent in America ever wants their daughter or wife to be the victim of sexual violence. But what you hear it in Rubin's voice there is an inherent sort of threat, promise, mockery about it. There's a part of him that thinks it's funny to deliver the threat that way. I'm going to show them. They're going to be afraid of those big black Haitians raping them or Venezuelans raping them.
And also, let's remember that tomorrow is the 30th anniversary of the Violence Against Women Act that Joe Biden was the first to introduce. And so it just really, really speaks to a tone deafness over where America is at right now. Like, people aren't having this anymore. No one wants to hear this. No one wants this toxicity. People want to protect their families and protect their women, but they certainly don't want them to be the subject of these vile, disgusting attacks. And so I think it just, again, goes like they've decided to just go all in with the misogyny in hopes that that's what's going to put them over the line. And it's just not. I just don't, I don't see it happening.
And the Republican Party going like just all in on the woman-hating misogyny crap, really, it's gotten a lot of young women engaged in politics to a degree, a lot more than young men. And for young people, I think Kamala, Harris Wall's ticket is the first introduction to something that represents like hope and new and like, let's get out of this, because, every presidential election that I've voted in, and everyone in Gen Z, because I'm one of the oldest, has had Trump on the ballot. This is the Republican Party that we know.
Right. And
I will offer any alternatives.
The reaction of this, the reaction to Taylor Swift, there used to be a rule that Andrew Breitbart back in the day said to Republicans, you know why you're losing? Because you think these culture war things are what's real. But you have to actually understand, as he used to say, that culture is upstream of politics. And Taylor Swift is probably the most important cultural figure in American entertainment today by an order of magnitude. I can't think of anyone who rivals her footprint in the culture. And they're all in on attacking her, all in on calling her, single and childless, cat lady, broken, blah, blah, blah. All in on attacking her career. They don't understand. They're not just pissing off a generation of Gen Z kids who are young fans of Taylor Swift. They're also pissing off their parents who have also seen their kids grow up with Taylor Swift. A lot of them have taken, when their daughters were young, took them to Taylor Swift. This is a deeper thing in the culture, and they don't get it. And it is, I think they're going to reap a really terrible whirlwind on this.
Yeah, and even the complicitness of like Megyn Kelly lost her shit about this as well. And yeah, I think we should play that clip.
I'm allowed to criticize Taylor Swift, and I don't give a who gets upset. This is disgusting. If she wants to vote Harris Walsh, she can do it all she wants. But to say the reason she's doing it is because of Tim Walz's stance on LGBTQ, F you, Taylor Swift, and F all of the people who want to see these children have body parts chopped off and watch them sterilized under the age of consent, and then will ride off to their multi-gazillion-dollar mansions, never to think of them again. Emily, this is unbelievable. The left is losing its mind. She signed it Taylor Swift, childless cat lady.
Oh, the left is the one.
Oh yeah, the left is losing their mind.
We literally just witnessed her lose her mind.
Ma'am, this is a Wendys.
That's one of those moments where just to make her lose it even more, if I'd been in the room, I would have said, "You should calm down." Because you want to see the volcano, man. That was the volcano.
Just like my ex.
Hush now, Megan, we're hysterical.
Exactly. Don't be. No, but I think that's it. Like, we know who's losing their minds right now. It is right now the right. Like, they know that Trump lost the debate. Like, they know he lost the debate. They know that this was an opportunity for him to take the narrative back. They knew it was a potential path for him, and he blew it. And they know that. Everybody knows that. And I don't know if you guys have seen the clip. We have a clip for.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, I looked at the poll numbers. I listened to Harold Ford. I don't know what he was watching because I think he wasn't watching the debate that I was in yesterday. I think we did great. It was 3-1. It was a rigged deal, as I assumed it would be, because when you looked at the fact that they were correcting everything and not correcting with her, and we knew it when it was 100% good coverage for her over the last month or last year. I looked at it, and only bad coverage of me, no matter what. The press.
It was only bad coverage because you were really, really bad, Donald.
You were
I mean,
bad. You
this
were
goes
terrible.
this goes to what I was saying earlier about the alternate reality that folks who consume right-wing media are living in. This was always going to be the spin when he lost, was that it was rigged, that the moderators were on her side, it was 3 against 1. And like, I think it's really important to note the reason that he got fact-checked and she didn't, the moderators didn't really fact-check him on policy. I mean, they got into it about tariffs. He lied about a bunch of shit there. They had to jump in and say stuff like, hey, so the city manager of Springfield says they're not eating dogs. Like, they had to cut in and say, in no state is it legal to kill a baby.
Right.
They're fact checking him because he's saying crazy shit.
Truly crazy shit. I mean, and at the end of the day, one of the things we know is like there's a strong reality distortion field around Trump himself. So he may imagine he did well in the debate. I don't think he really believes that, but he may imagine it for moments at a time. But none of his people thought so. I was talking to people who were in the spin room, and they were grinding their teeth and trying to pretend. And other than Stephen Miller screaming at people, I was told that the Trump team was incredibly restrained and like, oh, well, ABC was really mean to us. That's your defense of a guy having the worst public meltdown. And again, I'm going to play the old guy card because I've been to many, 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 many presidential debates in my 40 years in politics now. It's almost 40 years. God kill me. And I have seen primary debates and presidential debates over and over again. This was the single worst performance in any debate. And anyone who has studied presidential debates, anyone who has studied these debates will tell you this set a standard for disaster that is unparalleled, that is unrivaled. No one in a presidential debate has ever come close to making a single mistake as large as Trump's individual mistakes. And no one in a presidential debate has made the entire debate into a gigantic train wreck. And he did. He completely crapped the bed. He absolutely blew it at every point in this debate. And it's unspinnably bad. It is not something you can spin and pretend, oh, I won that debate. Every poll says so, 99-7. Okay, cool.
It's so bad that Kamala Harris's campaign dropped the entire debate as an ad. That's how bad it absolutely was.
A full hour and 40 minutes, they pinned to their profile our newest ad just dropped. And just how badly do you have to get destroyed in a debate for your opponent to say, just watch the whole thing? Like you didn't lose on one question. He lost on every question.
Well, it's true. She did not lose a single serve in this tennis match. Not once. She had control of the debate from the beginning. She did to Trump what he's done in the 28 other debates he's been in. She got in his head and would not stop and would not leave it and would not stop poking him. She's kind of like the Lincoln Project, folks. We stay in his head. We poke him and poke him and poke him and poke him. And he does terrible things. And, I think reminding him of this debate is a terrible thing. So you shouldn't do it. You absolutely should not do it. You should not remind Trump of this debate at all because it's terrible and mean to do that. Oh,
and we actually, because so she immediately challenged him to a second one just so she could kick his ass some more. And because he thinks he won, he thinks he doesn't need to do another one.
Rick, you're the self-proclaimed anthropologist of the worst man on earth.
I am indeed.
And as someone who you have hired to be your second to do that and has probably actually watched the most Trump content.
Oh, you've watched more Trump content than I have in the last couple of years. There's no question about it.
For sure. But the most notable thing is he was so much worse in this debate. He's worse in the last few months than ever. But in the last year, this is not the man who I watched come down the escalator when I was a senior in high school.
Right.
This is not the same man who, was yelling, "You're fired," and "I'm really rich," and all like the really viral moments from the 2016 campaign.
Right.
He's not even the guy who was diminished fighting Joe Biden. We got to see him with his brain fully rotted.
Yep.
And that was on display for all to see. I think for a lot of people for the first time.
Yeah, look, I think there's a degree to which the perceptible drop in Trump's cognition, joking aside, folks, for the moment, the perceptible drop in his ability to think on his feet, to project his presence into the room, to do more than one thing at a time. You know, Trump used to be very good at side-eyeing people. You could see him coming up with a joke, coming up with a riff. He stared at that podium and at that microphone the entire night. He could not look at her. He could not focus if he wasn't looking down at his podium. And his answers were incoherent. His answers were bizarre. His answers were a combination of weird right-wing conspiracy theories and just plain ugliness. This is a guy whose brain is broken.
Completely. And I think Kamala Harris knows what broke it. And she said it to the whole world. She's like, Donald, I think you're having a hard time processing the fact that you lost the election. You're having a hard time processing.
By 81 million people, baby.
And so I think it just goes to show again, like she just steady through the entire debate and knows that she could do it again. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't her getting lucky. No, she knows that she could debate him on Fox. She could debate him in a courtyard. She could debate him anywhere and she would win. And he knows that he would lose, which is why he is avoiding it at all costs.
At all costs. Well, folks, I know we're getting late in the game here. But one of my favorite parts of this entire debate was how much the right-wing media guys just melted the hell down. They lost their damn minds, and it was a thing of beauty. And Trump hates people who betray him, and he believes now that all these people have betrayed him, which is great. Even the ones that have kissed his ass a million times, he's like, why is he being so mean to me? I don't like Eric Erickson any longer. So why don't we roll the world premiere of a new piece of content that is soon going to be haunting Trump wherever he travels, Bedminster, Mar-a-Lago, or anywhere else.
You lost, Donald. Bigly.
Frankly, he lost the debate.
The worst debate performance in history. Even Fox can't defend you.
Oh my God.
Lindsey Graham called it a disaster. Your team? Depressed. Freaked out. Kamala owned you.
Donald Trump was fired.
Told the truth about your little crowds. Called out your stupid lies.
Eating the pets.
You kept taking the bait, and she kept winning. People are saying you should get out, give up. She's better than you. You keep bragging about how smart you are.
Concepts of a plan.
But that debate was a test, a cognitive test, and you failed.
I think it's time for somebody to give Donald Trump a cognitive test whose name isn't Dr. Ronnie Fentanyl. We need an actual serious gerontologist to do a cognitive test on Trump because, as Kate correctly says, he has really slipped. He has gone downhill fast. And I mean that in the best possible way politically because it makes him a much less formidable opponent. Because when Trump was on, he used to be a good performer. He knew what he was doing. He knew where the camera was. He knew what to say. He knew how to capture the moment. And now it's all, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
I mean, he was on stage. He probably just got off. He was still on when we started the show. One, doubling down on eating dogs and eating cats. And two, like he does every time, slurring, having trouble reading the teleprompter. I mean, this is not the man that we met, that many people met back in the 70s and 80s, but that, the political country met 10 years ago.
Right.
But the fact that he's a less formidable opponent, Rick, yes. But I'm also like, this means it's that much more important to ensure that he does not get anywhere near the White House.
Now it's like toddler with a chainsaw stuff. We cannot have him within 100 miles of the White House for the rest of his life.
And it's a really close race. I mean, we're going to see what comes out in the polls after, at the end of this week, the beginning of next week, post debate. But I mean, these are really, really tiny margins. If you move half of the people who are lean Trump, but I need to know more about Kamala, that nets out to, half a percentage point, a percentage point in the existential states. So
it's going to be, folks. I mean, none of this fun and games about Trump being terrible in the debate means anybody gets a day off. We're all working all the way through. We're going to run through the tape. There's a lot of work to be done. Trump is in a bad spot from this week. We want to make it a worse spot. But there's no worse spot in America than being a right-wing commentator right now. None. You're defending the indefensible, and it is a joy to watch.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Vice President Harris was clearly well prepared, practiced on the offensive much of the night. Former President Trump did take a lot of the bait that she threw out.
She did so well, and Trump did so poorly that they want to do that all over again.
I can't get behind somebody who maybe I agree with certain policies on, but their character is atrocious and lacks complete leadership.
She conveyed the calm. She conveyed a preparation.
Vice President Harris clearly won the debate in terms of her delivery, her polish, and her preparation.
The moment of the debate, if there was one, I think, was when she baited him on the rallies.
People saw, oh, actually, she's an intelligent, capable person who has a point of view on issues, and she demonstrated that time and again.
She was composed. She was prepared. She kept her cool. She saw advantages. She took them.
Donald Trump looked old tonight.
Yeah. This is the difference between someone who's well prepared and someone who's unprepared. Whoever did debate prep for Donald Trump should be fired.
Truly a difficult night.
You almost feel bad for them.
I don't. Folks, we'll see you again next Thursday night on The Breakdown.
See you then.